On KHOU 11, a Missouri City family claims Fort Bend ISD is denying special education services to their child. And next week, they'll take their concerns to the state. The family speaking only with KHOU 11's Jalissa Garza, who joins us now with a look at how things got to this point. Jalissa?
Well, Len, the hearing will be on the denial of special education services and district intimidation. The family has been part of the district for about 7 years now and tells me that denial of services has been an ongoing issue. All they've been asking for is that their child's IEP or individualized education program be followed, but they say it's not being done.
Feeling good about it?
Larry George is the parent of a child who has a learning disability and requires some special education services.
He has a reading comprehension disability. He can be supported in a general ed setting.
George has done everything he can outside the classroom to make sure his child succeeds inside the classroom.
He's had a tutor that supports him since second grade, and now he's a freshman, same tutor.
But he says Fort Bend ISD isn't doing their part.
There's been numerous of times where the IEP was not implemented, the support was not provided by the district.
An IEP stands for Individualized Education Program. Education experts say it's the basis of special education. The Texas Education Agency says the services can range in a variety of ways.
Everything from modifications in the general education classroom to the far end of the spectrum where kids are in a self-contained classroom.
This specific program is agreed upon between the school and the parents of the student. But George says Fort Bend ISD hasn't been implementing the IEP they agreed upon.
I have worked tirelessly with the district and trying to get them to collaborate and fix this.
George says he's done all he can, even going to the TEA himself, who sided with him and put the district on a corrective action plan. But he says nothing changed. Eventually, George sought out help from special needs advocate Karen Mayer Cunningham.
Every complaint Mr. George has filed without me has been substantiated, that his complaints were valid.
Cunningham is no stranger to working with school districts when it comes to special education services, and says resolving this issue has been more difficult than it should be.
When we simply are asking for the IEP to be implemented in the conformity that we agreed upon in the meetings, and they just will not do it.
We reached out to Fort Bend ISD. The district tells us they can't comment publicly on the case in order to protect and respect the students' privacy. But we've learned that here in Texas, the George family isn't alone in dealing with a situation like this.
I interviewed about 25 parents of across the state who have children with disabilities, just to learn about their experiences navigating the process.
Associate Professor of Education at UT Austin, David DeMatthew, says a lack of special education services has been a problem for years. In 2018, the Department of Education found the state was violating federal law.
The state was failing to fulfill its monitoring responsibilities and failing to ensure that every child in Texas is proactively identified if they have an eligible disability, and then provided with what is called a free and appropriate public education.
As challenges in education persist, George is just hoping his families can be solved.
I'm just really exhausted. I'm looking for change within Fort Bend ISD.
In addition to that hearing, a federal investigation is open with the Office of Civil Rights on Disability, Retaliation, and Race.
Wow, quite a story, Jalissa. So where can families go for help?
So Len, we want to bridge that gap and help families. So what we're going to be doing tonight after the 6 o'clock newscast, we're going to be live on KHOU Plus answering questions with an education expert you heard from in tonight's story. You can text 713-526-1111 with your questions. And we also have links to services right now on KHOU.com.
Very informative. People should tune in. 6:45.
6:45.
All right. Thank you, Jalissa. Coming up.